There was a boy named Alex. Alex was different from other children in his town. He did not like big crowds, loud noises, or too much talking. Instead, he enjoyed being alone. Alex lived in a small house near the forest. Every day after school, he walked home quickly. While other kids played in the park, Alex sat under a big oak tree, reading books. He loved adventure stories, fairy tales, and mysteries. The characters in the books were his best friends. His parents sometimes worried about him. "Alex, why don't you go and play with the other kids?" his mother asked one evening. "I like being alone, Mom," Alex said with a smile. "I am happy this way." His father nodded. "That's okay, son. But remember, sometimes having friends is nice too." Alex understood, but he still preferred his quiet world. He liked watching the birds, listening to the wind, and feeling the soft grass under his feet. One day, something strange happened. Alex was walking home when he heard a soft crying sound. He stopped and looked around. Behind a bush, he saw a small white puppy. It was lost and shivering. Alex knelt beside the puppy. "Hey there, little one. Are you lost?" The puppy wagged its tail but looked scared. Alex picked up the puppy gently and held it close. "Don't worry, I'll take care of you." From that day on, Alex was never truly alone. The puppy, whom he named Snowy, became his best friend. They walked together, read books together, and even watched the sunset in silence. For the first time, Alex realized that sometimes being alone didn't mean being lonely. Alex and Snowy quickly became inseparable. Every morning, Snowy would wake Alex by licking his face. After school, Alex would rush home, knowing that his furry friend was waiting for him. One evening, Alex sat under his favorite oak tree reading a book. Snowy lay beside him, ears twitching at the sound of rustling leaves. Suddenly, Alex heard footsteps approaching. He looked up and saw a girl from his school standing nearby. Her name was Emma. She was in Alex's class, but they had never spoken before. She had a curious look on her face. "Is that your dog?" she asked, pointing at Snowy. "Yes," Alex replied quietly. "He's cute," Emma said, kneeling down to pet Snowy. "What's his name?" "Snowy," Emma smiled. "I love dogs. I have one too, but he stays at home most of the time." Alex wasn't sure what to say. He wasn't used to talking to other kids, but Emma didn't seem to mind. She sat down on the grass, watching Snowy chase a butterfly. "You like being alone, don't you?" she asked after a while. Alex hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, I like the quiet." Emma plucked a blade of grass and twirled it between her fingers. "Me too, but sometimes having a friend to be quiet with is nice." Alex thought about that. He had never considered the idea of sharing silence with someone else. He had always believed that friendships meant loud conversations, games, and noise. The sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. Emma stood up and brushed off her jeans. "Well, I guess I'll see you tomorrow, Alex." She waved and walked away, leaving Alex with a new thought in his mind. Maybe, just maybe, being alone didn't mean he had to be lonely forever. The next day at school, Alex couldn't stop thinking about Emma's words. Sometimes having a friend to be quiet with is nice. For the first time, he wondered, was he really alone because he liked it, or was he just afraid of people not understanding him? At lunchtime, Instead of sitting by himself like always, he looked around the cafeteria. Emma was sitting by the window, eating a sandwich. She saw Alex and waved. Alex hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath and walked over. "Can I sit here?" he asked. Emma smiled. "Of course." They ate in comfortable silence. Every now and then, Emma would talk about her dog, Max, or mention a book she liked. Alex listened, nodding when he agreed. She didn't ask too many questions or expect him to talk a lot, which he appreciated. After school, Alex walked home with Snowy, thinking about how different the day had been. He didn't feel tired from talking too much, and he didn't feel uncomfortable. He felt okay. That evening, as he sat under his oak tree with Snowy curled up beside him, Alex realized something important. Maybe he still liked being alone. Maybe he would always enjoy quiet moments with just his books, the wind, and the trees. But maybe, just maybe, having a friend who understood that was even better. Days passed, and Alex found himself spending more time with Emma. She never forced him to talk, and she seemed to enjoy the quiet moments just as much as he did. They often sat together under the oak tree, reading their own books in silence while Snowy napped between them. One afternoon, as they sat under the tree, Emma suddenly closed her book and looked at Alex. "I have an idea," she said. Alex raised an eyebrow. "What kind of idea?" Emma grinned. "Let's go on an adventure." Alex hesitated. "An adventure?" "Yes, not a big one," she said quickly, noticing his hesitation. "Just a small one. There's an old abandoned cabin in the woods near the river. My brother told me about it. I thought maybe we could go see it." Alex wasn't sure. He liked his usual routine reading, walking Snowy, enjoying the quiet. But something about Emma's excitement made him curious. "Okay," he finally said, "but only for a little while." Emma clapped her hands. "Great! We'll go tomorrow after school." The next day, after school, Alex and Emma met at the edge of the forest. Snowy wagged his tail, excited for the walk. The air smelled fresh, and the trees whispered as the wind passed through their leaves. As they walked deeper into the forest, Alex felt a strange mix of nervousness and excitement. He had never really explored this part of the woods before. After about 20 minutes, they saw a small wooden cabin hidden between the trees. The roof was covered in moss, and the door hung slightly open. It looked abandoned for years. Emma stepped forward. "Let's check it out." Alex hesitated. "Are you sure it's safe?" Emma smiled. "Only one way to find out." She pushed the door open and they both stepped inside. The air smelled dusty, and the wooden floor creaked beneath their feet. There was an old table, a broken chair, and a fireplace filled with ashes. Alex ran his fingers over the dusty table. "Someone used to live here." Emma nodded. "A long time ago. I wonder who they were." Suddenly, Snowy barked. His ears stood up and he ran toward a corner of the cabin. Alex and Emma followed him and gasped. There, hidden under an old blanket, was a small wooden box. It looked like a treasure chest. Emma looked at Alex with wide eyes. "Should we open it?" Alex swallowed. His heart was racing. He had never been on an adventure before, and now he was about to open a mysterious box in an abandoned cabin. Taking a deep breath, he reached for the lid. Alex's fingers trembled slightly as he lifted the lid of the wooden box. The hinges creaked, and a small cloud of dust rose into the air. Emma leaned in closer, her eyes shining with excitement. Snowy sniffed the box curiously, his tail wagging. Inside, they found an old leather notebook, a rusty key, and a folded piece of paper. Emma picked up the notebook and carefully flipped through the yellowed pages. "It looks like a journal," she said. "The handwriting is messy, but I think someone wrote about their life here." Alex unfolded the paper. It was a map. A red X was drawn near the river, not far from where they were. He showed it to Emma. "Do you think this is a treasure map?" Emma grinned. "Only one way to find out." Alex hesitated. He liked the quiet life he had, and this was definitely outside his comfort zone. But a part of him, the part that had started to enjoy Emma's company, felt excited. "Okay," he said. "Let's go see." They left the cabin and followed the map, weaving through tall trees and stepping over fallen branches. The deeper they went, the quieter the forest became. Even the birds seemed to be watching them. After a while, they reached the river. The map showed a large oak tree with twisted roots near the water's edge, and there it was exactly as drawn. Emma pointed to the ground. "The X is right here." Alex looked around. "But what are we looking for?" Emma pulled the rusty key from her pocket. "Maybe it unlocks something buried here." They started digging with their hands, pushing away dirt and leaves. After a few minutes, Emma's fingers hit something hard. "Alex, I think I found something." Alex helped her clear the dirt away, and soon they uncovered a small, locked wooden chest. It looked old, with metal edges and a keyhole in the front. Emma handed Alex the key. "Go on, you found the map, so you should do it." Alex's heart pounded as he slid the key into the lock. With a small click, the chest unlocked. He slowly lifted the lid. Inside, they found something surprising. Not gold, not jewels, letters. Dozens of them, tied together with a red ribbon. Emma picked up the top letter and carefully opened it. She started reading aloud. "To the one who finds this, I hope you understand my story." Alex and Emma looked at each other, their excitement turning into deep curiosity. Whose letters were these? Why were they hidden here? Only one way to find out. Alex and Emma sat under the large oak tree, carefully opening the letters one by one. The handwriting was old and faded, but the words told a powerful story. The letters belonged to a man named Thomas, who had lived in the cabin many years ago. He had been a writer, but he loved being alone. He wrote about the beauty of the forest, the sound of the river, and the joy of solitude. However, as time passed, he started feeling lonely. In one letter, Thomas wrote, "I thought I only needed my books and my thoughts, but now I wish I had someone to share them with. The world is beautiful, but it is even more beautiful when shared." Emma looked at Alex. "It sounds like he was a lot like you." Alex nodded slowly. He had always believed that being alone was the best way to live, but now he wasn't so sure. He had enjoyed spending time with Emma and Snowy. He had discovered new things, gone on an adventure, and felt emotions he never had before. As they finished reading, Emma carefully placed the letters back in the chest. "What should we do with them?" Alex thought for a moment. "Let's leave them here. Maybe one day someone else will find them and learn the same lesson we did." They buried the chest again, making sure it was safe. Then they walked back toward the town, Snowy happily running ahead. As they reached the edge of the forest, Alex turned to Emma and smiled. A real, genuine smile. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" she asked. "For showing me that being alone is nice, but having a friend is even better." Emma grinned. "I told you so." From that day on, Alex still loved quiet moments under his oak tree, but now he also enjoyed the company of a good friend. He realized that solitude and friendship didn't have to be opposites. He could love being alone and still let people into his life. And for the first time, Alex truly felt at peace. Moral of the story: being alone can be peaceful, but sharing moments with others makes life richer. True happiness comes from finding balance between solitude and friendship.